I wouldn't mind mentioning a little bit about Workbench Con too, since we're all going to be there.
Yeah,
In
I
terms
mean,
of, yeah,
I don't think we should shy away from the topic. I just don't think
yeah,
it should be the center
I
stage
agree.
again.
Can you hear that?
Yes, very much so. The paper flipping or the microphone hitting or whatever it was?
No, the washing machine in the background.
Oh, no, that was a different sound. Is it still going? It's not loud enough to trigger your mic.
I can't hear anything.
It's on its spin cycle.
Yeah. I heard you like bump the table or something. I thought that's what you meant.
I was bumping stuff too, so. No, I think it's good. Oh crap! Let me get something. Hold on. Now we can start.
What's up, Domicile Artisan? How are you doing?
Yep. Good evening. Where are you? Where are you based out of?
Oklahoma.
Yes.
She is, yeah.
I don't even know the person's name.
That's my mom.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All this time?
I didn't
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
Oh, I thought I told you guys that.
No.
I was
Yeah.
like, man, it's like the most loyal viewer
my
we
goodness.
have on here.
Why I interact with her. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We interact with a lot of people though.
Hmm.
Wow, you think you know a guy.
Hmm.
And his family.
Yeah.
Well, good evening there. Hope everything's going well.
Hello, ma'am.
I would
See,
say my
Nick-
mom and dad, but my dad's probably asleep beside her while she's listening to this. But I don't know. Maybe.
That kind of changes the context of things.
Yeah.
Now I know, like, you know, one of our moms is listening.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom
How-
listens sometimes.
Context.
It just does. My mom listens too, but she listens after the fact. Doesn't listen live. So I don't know. Anyways. All right. You guys set?
Yep.
Yes.
I will
All
push. I'm pushing them away. Pushing them away.
See, now if you want to
Stacks on stacks on stacks.
if you want to be fidgety during the podcast, all you have to do is edit it. That way you can take care of all that on your
I try not to be fidgety.
You're okay.
I try not to like type
It's-
anything or click anything. Because I don't know how sensitive my microphone is in picking up all that stuff. I
It
need
is,
to get one of those arms so it's off the table. So if I go,
Yeah, we hear
doesn't-
that.
It is still better than a previous member of the podcast that we had. It is still better than that.
oh man, that seems like a lifetime ago.
Tell me about it. After 5 years?
Jeez.
I
All right,
remember
let's-
being the guy in the chat. What's up, guys?
Let's go ahead. All right, let's go get started.
All right.
What's up, Internet? You're listening to the Making Geeks podcast, a podcast for makers, families, and geeks. How are you doing pre-Workbench Con week? It is ticking down 6 days, actually a week from now. I will be
I had a
on a
thought
plane
today.
a week from now.
Yeah, I had a thought today that was like, wow, we're doing podcasts tonight. But a week from today, we're all going to be together in person.
You know, last week when you guys asked me when I'm going to prepare Workbench Con, and I said on the plane, I was kind of joking, but turns out that's probably going to be a reality. I have a work event they have to be at. It's like 8 o'clock on Wednesday night. Thursday I have esports stuff, then I have to hop on a plane almost right away to fly to Atlanta.
I mean, there's not really any rules against doing like a soldering project mid-flight, right? They don't say you can't have a soldering iron or, Raspberry Pi with like a breadboard and circuits. Wouldn't raise any red flags whatsoever, right?
I was thinking, you've seen my soldering work before, so a little bit of turbulence on a plane with soldering probably won't make it any worse than it already is.
That's true. I mean, it's a night. I mean, why else would you have a flat work surface if not to work on it, right?
What if like Rockler made a custom-sized silicone mat just for like the tray on an airplane, like travel size? Someone should make, and by someone I mean not me, but a tray table size little workbench kit for the plane, and then sell it in Walmart. Get it TSA approved. I don't think Jimmy listens to the podcast, otherwise I pitched it to him. What's up, Maker's Portal?
That would be cool.
Yeah.
You think enough people are traveling again to make it viable?
What I think about is that famous scene in Toy Story 2 where the toy repair guy comes to fix Woody and he has his little case and all the little drawers that open. I want one of those.
Someone made one of those. I saw someone made one of those a few months ago. Yeah.
I don't know if I watched the video, but I saw what it was. I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Was it like Get Hands Dirty or Craft with Ellen or something like that?
I don't think so.
I don't think I recognize the person, but you guys know some other people than I do.
Always reminds me of those old like caddies that moms used to have back in the day.
The caboodles?
You open it up and
caboodles?
Caboodles! Yes, caboodles.
Like the girl from Napoleon Dynamite has.
Yeah, yes, the caboodles.
Would you like to buy a bracelet? I'm helping pay for college. Your mom goes to college.
It's hard enough to get lithium batteries onto the plane. Well, you can get them onto the plane, you just can't have them in the cargo hold, if I understand correctly.
I was going to bring a lithium battery with me with my Pi badge, but my Pi badge is not working, so I won't have a lithium battery. Because I had that thought as I was opening up the kick for the Pi badge, and it's like lithium battery included. It's like, is that going to be an issue?
That actually came up on another thread I'm a part of, another maker thread, in regards to traveling and going through TSA with some of the maker either accessories or things we made to like show off or whatever.
Oh, is that Paul Jackman? Because he had it was a rasp.
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, he posted too.
That's weird.
He actually tagged TSA. Can you guys check to see if I could bring this on the plane? And it was like a hand plane or like a block plane.
George from Technically Woodworking is 3D printing. He's known for 3D printing his own feet.
Those are pretty cool. I see. Yeah. These.
And he's like, I wonder how these neon green feet would go in a TSA bag screening kind of conversation. And I kind of butted in and said that it's probably not the weirdest thing that I've ever had to bring through. I had some interesting conversations in the past. Like I had a silicone mold of Jimmy DiResta, his action figure.
Oh, for the chocolate?
Yeah, it looks just like Han Solo in Carbonite, and it's like super jiggly, and it's like really weird. I guess supposedly it looks really weird through the X-ray. Like a big block of silicone is not something that you normally see, and so it does weird things in the picture. And every time I've had that go through, it's getting flagged. And then the last time I went to Workbench Con, as you guys have heard the story, I took the Nintendo, the portable Nintendo with the projector through, and that caused an incident both ways.
With all of the stuff on the inside.
All the stuff on the inside. It was great going to Atlanta. So I run it through the conveyor, on the conveyor belt, and the person's, I'm expecting him to say something, and so I'm gathering my stuff on the other end, and he's like, "Hey, Joe, come get a look at this," and he like holds it up like over his head, like Link does when he finds a treasure in a chest, and he's like, "It's original Nintendo." What? It's just like they're like geeking out about it, and then he's like opening the lid, and he's like, "Oh, weird! The controllers are in there. That's cool." And he's like talking to me about it. He's like, "Man, I tell you what, I haven't seen one of these. I've never seen one of these come through here. This is really cool. It looks really weird in the X-ray. I didn't expect it to look like that." And I was like, yeah, they don't make them like they used to, huh? And he's like, nope. And I mean, that thing, it had all kinds of hot glue and crap on the inside and like custom made battery packs, and it didn't look anything like the original. Because
you know what's bad is if I took that through, it'd look even worse.
oh, that's
I heard
right.
to get pulled to the side every time, and they actually swab the prosthetic leg looking for chemicals.
What?
I think they're afraid that like I lost the leg in like some sort of like explosives accident or
and there's still residue on it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You should hide like a milk bone or something.
Or should I paint it to look like an Acme stick of dynamite?
But just like to distract the dog. He's like, "Oh, I'm really into this." Oh,
Right.
sorry, I had a milk bone. I'm sorry, my bad. Thought I got rid of that.
One of these days, maybe I'll be brave enough to try.
Jeez.
Have you ever thought of like 3D printing like a design casing for your prosthetic leg?
Yes.
Because
I have
I've
thought of
seen there's a little girl in our neighborhood who lost her arm, and I don't know the family well enough to talk to him and be like, hey, would you let me design an arm for for your daughter? Because there's like open source prosthetic stuff
RoboHand.
that you can 3D print and all that other kind of
enable.
stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's really cool, and the designs and the things that I've seen people do with them are just fascinatingly cool. And I was like, I wonder if Sean's ever done that, like a I don't know, I can't even think of right now because all the stuff I've seen is
So,
like
I
more
haven't
feminine,
done it.
flowers and.
I haven't done it. I've thought about it, so I haven't gotten past that stage. But what I do have planned, and this has been, when I say planned, it's been on my books for over 2 years, and that is that I want to retrofit it to look like Iron Man's leg.
See, I was gonna say like a Halo boot or something, but yeah.
No, I specifically want Iron Man's leg, but it'll be like EVA foam and stuff. I don't know if I'll do full 3D printing of it. I think the EVA film might be enough just because I think it needs to have a little bit of give. Which, somewhat related to that, but also a little bit off topic. My son started doing jiu-jitsu. I don't remember if I mentioned this last week. And he's getting beat up out there because he's, 130 pounds and going up against guys that are bigger than me because he's so tall he had to be in the adult class. And I was talking to the instructor last week who I found out has a connection to where I went to high school, saying that I wish I could be out there too because I used to wrestle in high school. He said, yeah, well you could just take it off and do all the ground stuff. I'm thinking, well, now I'm thinking actually about joining the class.
Oh
but
yeah.
But if I did the EVA foam around it, I wonder if there'd be enough padding to actually do some of the other stuff too. Otherwise, it's pretty dangerous and it'll end up knocking somebody out.
Spin kick.
Get a titanium leg to the head. Yeah. Makerspace has full Beskar armor. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't think that'd be recognizable though, with just the leg.
No, probably not.
You should do like a creature foot or something that wouldn't normally belong. Something super furry. It has like claws and talons.
Well, it'd work pretty well too because
a chicken foot.
Well, even something that like has like absence of flesh, like bone.
Oh yeah.
Because you have a socket and you have a straight kind of like almost like a pipe to the ankle joint in the foot. Actually, it's not even ankle joint, just to the foot. Because it's so thin, you can make it look like a
That's true.
What do you call it? The not the femur.
Tibia,
Fibula and tibula. Yeah. Yeah, I could arrange it to look like that. Zombified, half.
That would be cool.
Mm.
Have like shredded denim. Wear pants with like shredded on one. You could see the bones through it. That would be so cool. You'd freak so many people out.
You have
one year I have a goal to go as Mad Eye Moody for Halloween.
Nice.
Oh
I
yeah.
think that's kind of a given, but
You can have like a fake dog, like clamped
Hanging off
on.
of it?
Yeah, clamped onto it like it's a dog
Yeah.
on a bone, and just kind of drag it around.
Just drag it.
Yep. I love these ideas.
Oh my gosh. That would be fantastic.
Hulk
Ah.
pants.
Fans? Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Gosh. So, Workbench Con, coming up in a week. I'm excited to see you guys.
Yes.
Me too.
We're gonna. I guess we're gonna record down there, possibly. We'll see if we can fit it in. Maybe do an abbreviated episode. Or something.
I'll try to get my microphone in the luggage. If I ever am, I'll bring it.
I used to have a Tascam, like a recorder that we could just set and record, but for the life of me, I can't find it. So.
I'll have my laptop. Maybe I'll just bring this one mic and then just call it good. We'll just huddle around it or something.
Mm-hmm. I'll have my laptop too. So it works.
Cool. Nice.
And then somebody will have to edit it, or we just set it like unedited, just post it on Saturday because we'll still be there Saturday.
Well, I can edit it at a later date. That's not a big deal because we'll have the file.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool. So Wes and I have been diligently is not the word that I'd use. What word would I use? Frantically?
That's a good word. Yep.
Frantically. I've been frantically putting together this ARG for Workbench Con. If you haven't heard any of the previous episodes or anything like that, Wes and I are doing a treasure hunt for Workbench Con, for people specifically at Workbench Con, because some people have asked. This is only for people at Workbench Con. It's limited to 100. So if you are going to Workbench Con, come and find us because there is a limited amount of these cards. There's a bunch. There's a bunch of these cards, but in complete sets, there is a limited amount. And so we've been turning some of our friends into fantasy characters, which has been embarrassing and fun at the same time. I really hope that these people like how we made them look. Sean, have you seen yours?
I don't want to see it yet.
Okay.
I was going to say, I know that you asked me for a picture or something for me for something.
And you never sent it to me.
I wanted to see a surprise.
You never sent it to me.
Because we had to go and find one ourselves. And
I sent it to Donovan.
No, you never did.
I did.
I never got it.
Uh-oh.
But we've transformed some of our friends in the community into fantasy characters, and that part has been, like I said, embarrassing and entertaining and fun. And the cards are done. I went and I picked them up from the printer today. This. They are fantastic. Wes looks so brawny.
I mean, why wouldn't I?
Yeah. And it's just, there's a lot of organization and stuff that needs to be done to get all this ready. All the companies are on board. We're going full bore with this. It's either going to be disaster or it's going to be epic. Because I don't think there's...
Or maybe both. An epic disaster.
Or both. Or an epic disaster. I'm excited for it. I really am. There's... I hope it'll be cool. It's been cool putting together all of this. I hope it'll be cool for people that experience it themselves.
And the
cards, I already know the answers to everything. Like nothing is going to be a surprise to me, so I can't like go through the process of discovery and like the excitement of figuring something out, being like, "Oh, that is so cool."
And the cards are more than meets the eye as well. We'll just say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Wes is doing stuff on the back end that is just phenomenal.
That's what she said.
Uh-huh.
See, I can't say those in good conscience now, with knowing who's in the audience. Like that, I don't think I can. That's the last one I'll probably be able to
do. Like you never thought about our audience before. I will say this: my wife does not listen to this podcast, so I do. Not that I say anything that, well...
Mm-mm.
I don't know. I did tell my wife about your comment about three Chucks backing over us at the same time.
Oh, yes.
She laughed. She thought that was appropriately funny.
Good.
But yeah. So, Sean, you had an idea for a topic that I think is interesting because we've never talked about it before.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. I briefly forgot.
Okay, that's okay. We've probably all thought about it a lot. But do you want to introduce it for us?
Yeah. The three of us have been at this making game for a while now. And, you know, in the beginning for a lot of us, or maybe not entirely, but, you know, it starts out as fun, starts out as a little bit of a hobby. But at some point, you kind of start looking down the road and thinking, well, what is my actual goal? What's kind of my end game? I know that, one aspect that I think that's pretty universal is that, the idea of going, full time, of being able to do this full time, make a living at it, because we're passionate about what we do. But beyond that, I'm wondering if you guys have thought much about if there's some sort of end game or end goal in mind. Like, is it a Netflix show? Is it owning your own company / studio, like some friends of ours, and I don't need to say them by name, but we have some close friends that are going in very interesting directions where you have almost like a full company and corporation started working with bigger brands. If you thought about endgame, like ideally, what you want your channel / brand to turn into?
That's a tough one. That's tricky. Yeah, like and also how much longer do you expect to continue doing what you're doing?
Yeah, and that's
its current state, right? Yeah.
I've been thinking about that a lot lately.
Was it TikTok or just?
What do you mean?
Well, because TikTok is kind of changing. Talking about the landscape, TikTok is kind of changing that said landscape, where a lot of emphasis, and I mean a lot of emphasis on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, like on every platform, is that short form vertical content.
Actually,
like one of my editing jobs right now is literally to take a back catalog of old content and reformat it to short form vertical content.
I actually kind of disagree that TikTok is the future.
I'm not saying it's the future. I'm just saying the landscape.
No, I know, but because I'm kind of asking like further down the line, I think that I don't think TikTok is the final destination per se.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For things.
Oh no. Yeah, that's not what I was implying.
And I'll give one brief kind of I guess comparison. We mentioned it briefly. I think it was last week. That Jimmy DeResta, Paul Jackman, and I don't want to leave them off.
2 other people.
Graz and Pat Lap. I have the Netflix show coming out in next month.
Mm-hmm.
I think that still is more elevated in a lot of ways in terms of. I don't know if I'd call it like prestige, but it seems more legitimate than having 500,000 followers on TikTok or something. But maybe that's his old guy talking. I don't know.
I think it might be a little bit of that.
Is that like for you two? Is that something that you aspire to? Like, is a Netflix show or being part of something like that, like a not a community show, but like a cooperative, like is network, not network. It's not even network. Is streaming. Is that something that you guys like have ever wanted for your future in terms of this whole making thing?
Not beyond Twitch streaming, no.
For me, I'm not opposed to it, but I think a lot of it for me is context. It's not like I have aspirations to be on a sitcom or anything like that. My profession is education.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking more like.
Well, no, but I mean, even
fun
like
or making it or like.
Right. But even through Netflix, I mean, having a Netflix show based on education through things that I do, sure. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I don't think that'll ever happen for me because I don't think I'm the right personality to be in front of the camera for that. But taking what I do and rolling it into some sort of package for education is something that I would definitely look forward to. And I have plans to start a form of that over the summer because I kind of have to in some ways.
Yeah. Well, like even not to be like in front of the camera, like you say, but just to be a part of.
Yeah. I mean, I can do it in front of the camera stuff. I just don't think I'm the best one to do it. I'd probably have a.
Well, even like, what about like behind the scenes? It's like just
it'd be writing content, producer, writer, whatever else.
Okay.
I mean, that was always my goal in the beginning. I mean, when I first started Geek Build, it was never to be in front of the camera. I wanted for years, and I think I'm kind of past the point of being able to do this. I wanted to replicate Film Riot. I wanted to be Film Riot.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know what Film Riot is, it started out.
How dare you, for one?
Yeah, I know. But I'll expand on that too. And, Film Riot is it started off as a DIY film channel. Ryan Connolly, he's the head of the channel, went to film school, and he started the YouTube channel to try to basically build his own skills at almost no budget and share what he learned from school and inspire others, which they've done over the last, I don't know how many years now. And it definitely inspired me. I was already doing a podcast at the time when Film Riot came out, and we were trying to figure out how to make the jump to video, because it was still very difficult and it was still expensive because bandwidth was still kind of at a premium. Mm-hmm. And my partner in that, strangely enough, is Maker Portal's brother. We had actually started that, and it just, he got work in the entertainment industry and wasn't really able to do the review thing anymore, and it kind of fell apart. And then I found this a couple of years later. So it's always been a bigger passion of mine for behind the scenes and special effects work and animation and all that, even more than the making. So that is still a little bit of a goal of mine, except more of a manager administrative point of view position, as opposed to the one that gets seen by everybody.
Is that still your end game?
In some ways it is. I would still love to own a studio somewhere, just a huge space and making content, whether I'm the one in front of the camera or not. Like I said, my profession is education, so I love getting other people involved in doing those different things. And if you follow my Instagram story, you'll see a stupid Instagram story of a dog walk cycle that one of my students did today and put my head on the dog. So, yeah.
I saw that. It looked really good.
And also getting Maker's Portal to come work with me. That's a goal, which we've talked about several times. How about you guys?
I would say there's different avenues I could go. One of which, I think, opening like a makerspace or something would be really cool. It wouldn't be directly related to geeksmithing per se. I don't think it would like inherit the name or anything. But like the current maker meetup group that I have here in North Carolina, I just looked on the meetup page and we have like 350 members. They're not all active, but that was pretty cool to see a number that big of interested people in the area. And we used to have a pretty good core following before COVID, and that's really wrecked a lot of things, like everything else that's wrecked. But we've started discussing the possibility of either merging with this other existing makerspace that has been floundering and needs maybe some more help, or creating another one that would be like not a competitor, because I guess makerspaces, they don't really, even though they sort of compete for subscriptions, they're almost more cooperative in the way that it's almost like a community kind of thing. They don't really sort of try to poach members, but they sort of help each other, and which is surprising. And I think it would be beneficial if they operated at least a lot like a lot of museums operate, where you can have like a membership that is like not transferable, but like is still honored. I forget what they call it, reciprocal membership, where you can have like a membership of one museum, but then you can even go out of state, and because you have that, they're a member of this one coalition.
It's kind of like a network,
like a Smithsonian.
Yeah, there's a word for it. I forget what I thought it was reciprocal, but something like that, where maybe you could have the ability to pop into different makerspaces when you're in the area, but not necessarily be a member. But yeah, we've just been talking to me and some of the other guys that are leading it. It would be cool to have that as like a retirement sort of option. Not that I'm that close, but some other people are close enough to be retired, so they're thinking that'd be cool. And if I could employ other maker friends that would want to help with that endeavor, that would be super cool too. But that's just one possible avenue. I I do want to continue making videos on my own for my channel, but I have been thinking more and more about like how much longer I would be interested in doing it. And it's clear at this point because I'm not really obtaining any sort of goals up until now, as it is, and I can't expect that to really change very dramatically in the near future, which I'm generally okay with. The people that I connect with that enjoy my content are the people I like to talk to, so it's not really... It'd be cool if it happened, but I'm sort of over that expectation, I guess you should say. And I do enjoy connecting with other makers, whether they know they're makers or not. As you guys know, at the conventions that we go to, I enjoy the networking part of it. And I guess that sort of would be a neat transition into the makerspace thing, as far as like being able to influence people on a personal level and trying to get them to realize the potential of themselves and doing things, even if it's not their primary, job. It could lead to other opportunities that may not expect down the road and inspire other kids and my own kids. I'm sure I don't know if they would be interested in doing stuff on my channel or not. I know that my daughter has an iPad, and even before she got an iPad to record things, she had like a little crap flip camera and stuff, and she would record little videos. And she even had like an Android tablet that was mine that at one point that she sort of inherited, and it still had my Google login. So anytime she would record a video, it would show up on my Google Photos, and she doesn't know this. Oh. So she's like recording all these like vloggy kind of things on there. It's super funny. I can't bear to delete them. They're taking up a crap ton of file space, and they're probably garbage as far as content. They're not really anything of note, I should say. But I think it'll be cool to go back and look at them. They're sort of home movies in a way. There's not really a VHS
that's
tape.
Legacy right there.
It is, yeah. And Grant's loving the maker. He says he wants to be a maker when he grows up, and all that sort of thing. And I don't know. I'm interested to see where their influence changes my direction. It's already changed my direction in things. So I don't know. It's a hard question. I often wonder if I'll go back to game development stuff, but I doubt it. I don't know. It's a tricky question to answer. I have the creative itches, and I can't find an ointment strong enough to fix that. So the website or the YouTube channel is sort of my outlet for that. Even if that's probably the main reason I do them. Now I think about it, I have to have an outlet for creativity. If I don't have it there, it's got to be somewhere. I don't play games as much as I used to. That's not really much of an outlet anymore. So
unless we're all hanging out at your house.
Unless we're all hanging out at my house, in which case, let's do it. Yeah, if we could do more of that, if we have some sort of maker compound that we could, like a retreat or something, on a more regular basis, I'd be all about that. Buy a plot of land in Wyoming, go out there, build some stuff, and I don't know. That as much fun as that is, it should not be a temporary, once every 5-year arrangement. It should be more often.
Wait, so is Wyoming the end game, the end destination?
It's not. I don't know. After being there for 3 months, at least in the town that I was in, I can't really realistically imagine being there permanently. As much as I love it, I think it's sort of the thing, because I don't live there. That's why I love it. It's,
yeah.
Like people that live at the beach never go to the beach, that sort of thing. And I wouldn't want to go there and not experience the things I like experiencing the most, like the outdoor stuff. Like my current friend that lives there, that I've referenced several times on the show, he had never gone whitewater rafting, and there's like a fantastic canyon for it. It's like really well known, and he drives through the canyon multiple times a week for his job, and he sees people down there doing it, and it's really cool. And he's never done it. And then when I went out there a couple summers ago, I did. He's like, "Oh yeah, I guess I should take my girls." And I'm like, "Yeah, no joke, huh? You think?" Like, it's just, it's like when you just take it for granted when you live in a place that's like that, or a touristy place. You don't do the touristy things because they're sort of, you can always do them, and why would you want to be like a tourist, so to speak? But there's still fun to be had in them. I think people do themselves a disservice by thinking that way. I don't want to be one of those people. So for it to maintain its novelty, I don't think I live there permanently, but maybe a vacation home or something I can rent out to other makers. That'd be cool. Get like a nice compound and have it where I can
have your own maker ranch.
Yeah, make a ranch like Airbnb, but just for makers, sort of thing. That'd be sweet. And have like one communal project that people, as they stay there, they add a thing to it or they alter it a certain way, and it just kind of evolves, and that'd be cool. Use the table saw at your own risk, though.
Saw stop sponsor.
Yes,
I know.
Exactly.
That's what I'm about to say. Let's saw stop.
Yep. Hot dogs will be provided.
Are they going to be there next week? I don't remember seeing their name on anything.
I don't think so.
Interesting. That'll be the first like big event that I've been to where they haven't had a hot dog and a table saw. Just imagine how many hot dogs that company has bought just for the purpose of
bam. Yeah.
Hot dogs and table saws. Maybe that'll be the name of the episode.
There you go. Let's do it. Oh.
You know, when I first, so much has changed from when I first started this whole thing up to now. Because like when I first started, one of the things that I had to keep in mind, especially when coming up with a name for what I wanted to do, was whether I wanted to focus on me as a person and be like Donovan Designs or Donovan Makes Stuff or whatever. Just like to have the focus be on me as an individual, or whether I wanted to have like a company name, something that was just beyond me. And one of the decisions that I made was to have a company name rather than to name it just myself. Because there are people like within this community who their business is their name. Think like April Wilkerson or Jimmy DeResta or David Picciuto. Well, David Picciuto is like, he's not the drunk woodworker. What did he
make? Something.
Make something. Yes. Okay. So there are people that like that they make and they do under their own name, and that is their brand. And I decided not to go that way because like trying to think of an end game to all this is wanting to have something that could go beyond me. I've never wanted to do all of this stuff by myself. I've never wanted to do this stuff by myself because like one of the hard adjustments of going from working in the film industry to then working in the maker industry is I went from working on crews where everybody was specialized something and we all worked together and made something together to this makerspace, which is amazing. Like I love the community of the makerspace better than like any other community I've experienced in my life. But that said, like most of the work that was done is by me, and I am not specialized in a lot of things that I have to do because it's just part of the process of being a content creator. So I never wanted to do all this by myself. I wanted to have some kind of production company or lab or whatever. And so in the beginning, my goal was to find a space to open a fab lab, but also like a teaching space so people could come in and learn how to like operate a camera or green screen or edit or laser cut or just kind of a making space that incorporated more than just tools. And so for years that was my end goal, my what I wanted out of all this. But now that a couple years have passed and seeing the things that people in this community and the people that I know and people around us have done and accomplished, it's kind of changed a little bit. Like I still love the idea of having an education space. I want to say makerspace, but it's a little bit more than that. Like having a makerspace. I'll just call it that. I really do love that idea. That is a very expensive thing to do. And so the more expensive something is, the less I can attach to it because it doesn't seem doable. But to see people go on and like do things for like Netflix shows or these community projects or things like that, those are what I think I tend to gravitate more towards because again, I don't want to do these things alone. Because I'm not good enough to be good by myself, but I'm really good when I work with other people, I think. And so that is kind of my end goal. Wes and I had this conversation last week after we stopped recording. Was it after we stopped recording? About the Muppets?
Yes.
Yeah. So last week after we were recording on the show, we were just kind of talking. And I brought up the point that in terms of me and my content and my channel, all that kind of stuff, if there's a focal point that I can get to, and that will be like I made it moment, it would be when I can go work with the Muppets. Not to work for the Muppets, but to do a project together with the Muppets. Because we were talking about Christine McConnell, who is a maker within the community, that she started on YouTube and then she went to Netflix, and then she's back on YouTube. But while she was at Netflix, she got to work with the Jim Henson Company, coming up with her own Muppets for her own show. And I was like, if I can reach that point, that will be my moment where I'd be like, I made it. That's just for me individually as a personality, just because I have such an emotional attachment to the Muppets, that if I can like hit that point where they want to work with me, it'd be like, oh, I did it. Like this is that moment. Not to say that is an end game for me, but it is a goal in my end game, I guess. So right now my end game is more like working as part of a crew on something like a Netflix show, or doesn't have to be to Netflix, like Hulu or anything like that, but just, I don't know, working together.
Would you ever go back to working in animation?
Huh. I miss it a lot. I really
There is
do.
such a renaissance right now for animation.
I know. And
I'm
it's
getting
like
10 listings a day for animation.
Really. My
related stuff, yeah.
My daughter and I do a lot of drawing together, and coming up with characters and comics, and every night when I put her to bed, she's like, can you tell me a story about when you were younger, when you worked for Disney, that kind of thing. And it's really fun because like reliving these moments of having worked on a few animated movies and realizing that like that used to be my passion and my goal, just being able to look back on that. I do miss it sometimes. I don't miss being a cog, a faceless piece of a machine. Not to say that like all animation is like that.
You don't necessarily have to anymore. I mean, productions are so small and so custom now that you don't have to quite do it that way anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I do love it. I would enjoy doing something like that. But yeah. Yeah, it was fun. My daughter still tell just strangers in the grocery store or whatever, if they're wearing like a Lilo and Stitch shirt, she'll be like, my Baba worked on that movie, and she'll just go off on me having worked for Disney to people who have absolutely no interest in probably hearing everything she wants to talk about, but she gets so excited about it, and it's cute to see.
I still need to take up on that offer to talk to my class too.
Yeah. You're gonna come out to California. We've done a trip to.
Well, we could do it over like Zoom or something for right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So end goals have changed, and with the landscape changing, it always changes. But with the landscape changing, it's weird to see how and if I want to adapt to the changes that are happening. Because I mean, we talked about TikTok and everything like that, and short form vertical content. And it's like, as much as I enjoy consuming that, sometimes, not a lot, but sometimes I don't really see myself doing that.
Yeah, I end up uninstalling TikTok on my phone.
Yeah?
Yeah, just no.
I think age, and maybe it's not this way for a lot of people, but I think age has changed a lot in the last 2 years for me, and maybe it's partially the pandemic, but I think it's just kind of age. And looking at, I don't mind being adaptable or flexible because it's part of survival, but I'm a little bit less willing to try to hop on trends or trying to fit in with what others deem popular or current.
Like Wordle.
Well, now that just hurts because I do that every day.
Mm-hmm.
No, but in terms of like, content trends, yeah, I'm still even resistant to doing the thumbnails with the shocked face look, like.
Yeah.
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 And I don't know if it is age or just experience that makes you not want to hop on it, because when you have so many people go in that same direction, you're in no better spot than you were before. I think the whole point is to be at the front of that pack that helps to steer everyone else. I don't have a big enough channel or big enough following to even get close to being part of that group. But, yeah.
It may be like its own topic for its own day, but there is this thing of in terms of content, of idea versus personality, because a lot of what we see and do on YouTube seems to be broken up between an idea or a personality. So you have somebody like, in terms of like finding new audience and having an appeal to an audience, is you either have to appeal based on an idea. So for me, obviously, the things that I have done that appeal as an idea are all of my Ninjago stuff and the Zelda Playhouse. Those are the only things that I've done that as ideas have appealed to a broad audience. Now, me as a personality, I am not enough of a caricature, I think, to appeal as a personality. And so I have to lean more towards that idea direction in my content and videos and projects and stuff like that. Whereas I look at somebody like Bobby Duke, who is personality. Like he's a weird combination of both idea and personality. Like turn a bolt into a claymore. Like, yes, but he has found a balance in between both, where people will come for the idea but stay for his personality.
I've tried to go full Bobby Duke, and I can't do it. There's something that stops me. I mean, my early videos, it was very much skit based in the beginning, and a lot of them are really kind of silly, and I have a hard time going back to that and seeing how far Bobby Duke goes. I'm like, I can't do that. Just one, personally, but second, I'm in front of 200 teenagers a day.
Yeah.
And I have to choose very carefully what I do. I had them all checking out my content today because we were having that discussion, because they were searching for pictures of me online, and of course I see everything connected with what I do. So they were all curious. I'm like, yeah, when all that information is available to me or to them about me, I can't quite do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I realized I didn't want to do that. Because, all right, I want to say this is
you started in that direction a little bit.
No, I want to say this is
Thor hammer
up front. I love their faces. As people, I love hanging out with them, talking to them, interacting with them, but I can't stand their videos. Evan and Caitlin, like we literally uploaded our first videos at the same time, and in the beginning, like their content was very like fun DIY working together content, and then they had this tonal shift.
It's a huge pivot
to more towards that personality spectrum.
Experiment,
where,
king of random.
Yeah, but it's like the quick editing, the emojis popping up everywhere, like just because they're trying to appeal to tweens. And like for me, I realized I didn't want to go down that method because tweens are not my target audience. I don't need to put like fart jokes and emojis and like zoom edits and all this other kind of stuff in my content, because that is not who I'm appealing to. That is not who I want my audience to be. So that is not who I'm making my content for. And so it's it's hard because you look at something like that where it's like, yeah, I don't want to be like that, but they're getting 1.5 million views for every video that they put out. And I'm over here like, no,
But
I
at
don't want to
what
be
cost?
yeah, I know, but at what cost? And it's like, it's funny because Workbench Con is coming up, and there's always so much that we walk away with from Workbench Con, whether it's ideas or motivation or like whatever. And talking about the long game, like, what is next week going to change in terms of what we think about our content or our channel or our projects or stuff like that?
Or our lives. I mean, last Workbench Con, I had a discussion with somebody, 2 people, and now they live here.
No.
So, I mean, there could be repercussions that you don't see for another year plus, and that end up stemming from that. And that's had sprawling consequences.
So I feel like that would be less of a thing for me. But yeah, you're totally right. There's a lot that, I don't know. There's a lot that can happen, does happen. It's exciting and a little bit nerve-wracking at the same time. Because it's hard to know what to expect out of all of this. That's another thing I think about the long game is like, I haven't set my heart on anything because I know if things change and things will change, like the direction is going to change and I have to be okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, even with this, there's something kind of, to me, it feels a little bit scary, is that, you know, when I look at my current career as a teacher, I'm only halfway through my work, somewhat, not contract, but before I can officially retire as a teacher, I'm only halfway through. It's 30 years to get full retirement as a teacher. I've been working for 15. I got another 15 to go. You know, and thinking about, you know, am I still going to be teaching animation and computer science in 15 years?
What will computers look like in 15 years?
I mean, I don't even care as much about that. It's more along the lines of, you know, how do I want to spend my time? And, you know, I love making, I love doing it full time, but to be able to make what I make in my profession right now would probably take about 10 years as a full-time maker. I'm trying to figure out what is that balance and, you know, what direction to go to maybe, you know, either leave teaching early or supplement or whatever it is. You know, I have no idea. I'm trying to figure that out as I go along. And you know, the longer you work in a single field, you usually move up in different ways, which I have recently, and which means there's less and less time for creating the content that I want to create. And I'm going to have to make some decisions in the next 2 years that I don't want to make. I'm trying to delay this as much as possible.
Put it off as best you can.
I've been doing it so far.
Man. Well, regardless of what happens, I'm excited to see you guys.
Yep.
7 days.
Yep. Until then, is there something you're geeking out about?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm geeking out about it, but I'm questioning my reason and if it's a valid thing to geek out on. Currently, it's number 34 on trending on YouTube, so I guess other people are geeking out about it too. It's the Chipdale Rescue Rangers movie on Disney+.
We need to talk about this.
Have you guys seen that trailer?
I am so confused by that thing.
It's so weird, but hilarious.
I am so confused.
It feels just like something that is on like on Robot Chicken or something like that. It seems like a spoof or a parody or something that would be on Funny or Die, you know? And I'm pretty sure there has been episodes where it's like a spoof mockumentary kind of thing, like concept.
True Hollywood stories, is that what they call them?
Yeah.
Give people a quick rundown for those that have not seen the trailer yet.
They are rebooting Chippendale's Rescue Rangers.
But in an unexpected way. It's almost like a continuation of the story. Mm-hmm. And the trailer it's live action mixed with CG mixed with, it's like Roger Rabbit, but like modernized in a way.
But they have old school animation with 3D animation, and they make a point to draw it out. Like
Yeah.
Dale gets the 3D animation surgery.
CGI surgery, yeah.
Yeah, the CGI surgery.
Yeah, so he's 3D, and then
Chip is not. He's
Yeah.
like old school 2D animation.
But it looks like he's wearing a 3D jacket. Is that right?
Well, it's like it's cell shaded, so it's like 3D, but it looks 2D.
Well, I mean, it's all. I think it's all 3D. I think it's cel shaded 3D animation, but it's where his jacket looked more real than the rest of the heat.
The Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Which has always been a funny meta, like a joke actually about or about the Rescue Rangers, is that like they're themed off of Indiana Jones and Magnum PI, because they look exactly like their outfits look like those characters, and then they actually had a reference to Indiana Jones in the trailer, and it was pretty funny. I'm
what do you think?
apprehensive.
I am terribly curious.
I'm terribly curious. I'm probably gonna hate it and hate that I like it, and not want to like it, but secretly like it. I hate Seth Rogen and his I can't even do his voice and his like laugh. It like irritates the crap out of me.
No, that was pretty good.
But his the character he's playing looks pretty funny, and they're like picking fun of like Beowulf and other animation styles, and it looks entertaining, and Grant is super excited about it. My son.
It's not the Island Boys.
The Lonely Island. Yeah,
Lonely Island is
Adam
doing
Sandberg.
it.
that's
What a
interesting.
weird collaboration with Disney.
I know, which Andy Samberg's animation projects in the past I have absolutely loved. My hesitancy with this one is the same hesitancy I had with like Space Jam, the new ones.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen that?
Unfortunately.
Where it's an entire movie of Warner Brothers being like, hey, look at all these properties that we own.
Right.
Because they're trying to like tie in and incorporate everything into one movie, and this looks exactly like that. I'm like, you have like all of the Disney animated stuff. Aladdin is in there, so like the princesses. You have Roger Rabbit, you have Star Wars, you have Indiana Jones, you have like.
But somehow they have My Little Pony, and that's not theirs, and so they're even going beyond their own properties. You know.
I know, and it's like I am so worried that this is just going to be a Disney being like, hey, look at all this stuff we own in one movie.
I mean, Roger Rabbit also
like it.
pulled in references from other competing studios too, so maybe they're going beyond their own IP. Maybe they're able to do that. I don't know. I want to like it, but yeah.
So, Andy Samberg,
John Mulaney,
and John Mulaney are Chip and Dale, but Monterey Jack sounds like the same voice.
It's probably Jim Cummings. Yeah, he did the original. I would expect.
Okay.
And Tress McNeil is probably she was like credited in like IMDb or something, so she's probably coming back as Gadget.
As Gadget,
Yeah.
because Gadget's not in the trailer, is she? Just
She
in the
is.
picture of them all together.
Right. They haven't actually
don't
shown
hear
her
her
talk again. Right.
Okay. I'm kind of like the conversation I had with talking about the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I want to like it because I love Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers.
And I was really against the current or the newer DuckTales reboot that they did until they gave it a chance and like watched it, and it was hard to get used to because I was so into the old style.
I was hard on it too, but I ended up liking it.
It's fantastic, and I'm
Isn't
mad.
it so good?
I'm mad that there's not another season because they ended on like a cliffhanger sort of thing. I'm like, seriously, this is what we're gonna do? And the way they like showed like huge respect for the property and like had way more like inside jokes and like meta references, and they handled like properties of other Disney Afternoon things in there, including Darkwing, which in a way I never expected them to do. It was like meta, and they were like even making commentary on fans like me that had problems with reboots for modern audiences and stuff. They like talked about that in the show relative to their own universe, but it was pretty funny how they were able to do that. And so if they're using that same sort of respect to the property, I mean, I'll give it a shot. But it seems like they're going on a zanier kind of take on this, so we'll see.
Yeah. What about you, Sean?
I'll mention a couple things really quick. As far as like entertainment type stuff, I'm really kind of geeking out about Moon Knight. They showed a little bit more of a preview, I think, around the Super Bowl. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. It just seems to be insane in terms of the last trailer that they showed that was shown like right before the Super Bowl.
So good.
And it's also at one of those points where I think I don't want to see any more now.
Yeah, they showed too much already. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard enough rumors. I've seen enough to really get me excited. I'm done. No more. I saw what somebody had posted as the leaked credits from the movie, and it said like Tom Cruise, Iron Man, Benedict for Strange, and what's her name for Ms. Marvel. Then it said like Dominic Toretto for Vin Diesel by Dominic Toretto, Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker. It actually kind of like exaggerated because everybody's gonna be in this. It was fun. But my real geek out right now, I think, is it's kind of like a parent thing to say, is about my kids. My kids are almost teenage age, and I don't know, just been really fun having them at an age where I could talk a little bit more honestly to them and almost a little bit more adult-like. It's like having a little mini-me around in the car now when my son and I talk. And with the stuff he's doing in school and robotics, he's kind of entering into my realm, and it's a lot of fun.
And Maker's Portal did remind me of something I did want to bring up also. I actually watched the entire run of Peacemaker over like a week's period of time, and I didn't really care for the character in Suicide Squad. He was just sort of meh. And the that show is really cool. It's very vulgar. It's very on the nose. The opening intro to that show is unlike anything I've ever seen in my life. They have an eagle that's amazing as a character, which I never thought would be cool. And it's just, they did a good job. James Gunn did like all the writing and most of the directing for the entire series so far. If you like Guardians of the Galaxy type of stuff, I think you would enjoy it. If you like Suicide Squad, you would enjoy it because it's the same director. But they did some stuff and had references in there that I didn't expect. And like throughout the entire run, the main character, John Cena's Peacemaker, he's like talking smack about other DC characters and saying some really god-awful things about like Aquaman doing things to fish, and it's just hilarious like how much DC is allowing them to just kind of run wild with IPs and tangential IPs and stuff. And
I think they realize that, what, if we can't be Marvel,
yeah,
we're gonna be adult.
Yeah, they accomplished that, and there's some surprises in the series. It's pretty good, so I recommend it.
Is the eagle
Yes.
a better character than in Wheezy Waiter?
I'm not familiar with the eagle and Wheezy Waiter.
Do you watch Wheezy Waiter?
Not religiously, just every once in a while I might catch
okay.
one, but nothing like that.
Because he features an eagle. And I was like, if you can beat that eagle.
Well, he's voiced by the same voice actor that does Perry the Platypus and like a crap ton of other properties, and so he's a good character.
The eagle talks?
No, but see, it's D. Bradley Baker is the voice artist, and he does like a lot of animals, and he basically can sound like any animal or creature. That's like his thing, and so it has like all these crazy screeches and stuff like an eagle does, but it has a little more character to it, and it's he is Peacemaker's best friend is an eagle named Eagly, and he does some pretty hilarious stuff, and he fights bad guys, and he's pretty tough character, and he like gives John Cena a hug. It's of course all CG, but they do a good job with it and make it. It looks really good. Like the effects are really good. And actually, since I just came off of watching Boba Fett, it was nice to see like a cohesive story and narrative being told through around 8 episodes. I'm like, wow, this is how that like story structures work and how like characters develop throughout the course of a run of a series or a season. And it's just it's good to remind myself what that looks like.
You're gonna get a few comments about that.
Bring it on. I mean, they didn't bring in, like Batman and do like 3 episodes devoted to Batman in the middle of this. I mean, it's just, yeah, bring it.
How are you, Donovan?
So my dad asked me and my brother an interesting question. He's like, "Would you let your kids play the games that you played when you were growing up?" Because my brother and I were talking about some of the games that we used to play when we were younger, and we thought about it for half a second. We're like, "Yeah," because my brother and I, growing up, played just awesome games. And a large part of those games came from what was called the LucasArts collection, which was a collection of games that LucasArts did with a few different properties like Star Wars and Indiana Jones, but it also included things like Day of the Tentacle, Monkey Island, The Dig, Full Throttle, these not point and click.
Grim Fandango, is that theirs?
Grim Fandango, yeah. Like that.
Sam and Max.
Sam and Max hit the. Oh my gosh, yes! I still to this day will say "Holy cripes on toast" because of that game. And so we were thinking about all of these games that we played from the LucasArts collection, and just how good they were, and how they were funny, and how like they were very story driven, and they taught you how to think critically and how to they weren't like shoot 'em ups like everything nowadays seems to be. Like you had to think about how to solve puzzles and how to get past guards.
Yeah, like Sierra games and stuff. Yeah, King's Quest.
Yeah, the Sierra games. Like whether or not you wanted to be Indiana Jones and fight your way through the game, or whether you wanted to like try to solve all the puzzles, or like there were different ways to play this game, and they were fantastic. There's not a lot of modern comparisons that I can find to compare to that collection of games and just what we were able to learn while we enjoyed it. Anyways, all of that said, I was Googling all of the LucasArts games and stumbled across a board game called The Shivers. The Shivers was created by a group of people who also grew up with the LucasArts games and created a pop-up 3-dimensional board game not based on, but heavily inspired by the point-and-click adventure LucasArts games. And I have talked to them. The game is about to be released. It was a Kickstarter game that's now in production. I'm going to get one, and I'm so excited for it because it looks super cool. One, because the game mechanics just seem super fun, and the other is that it's inspired by a LucasArts game collection, which I have deep emotional feelings to. So I'm excited for when I can get to play that. So I've been geeking out about it. It's called The Shivers.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that gives me shivers is a terrible segue. And speaking of terrible segues, we'd like to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/makinggeeks for their contributions to our podcast. Every time we release an episode, they put their money where our mouths are, and we appreciate them for their support, including our top patrons, Mr. Jordan Rimple, Square Splinter, and Clinton from C3D Prop Shop. You guys are our top patrons, so we love you the most. Which is not true. We love all of our patrons equally. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah. And aside from being a patron, you can also check out our website at makinggeeks.com. We have a contact page if you want to send any suggestions for the show. You can also listen to all of our past episodes there on the homepage of the site, right there in your favorite browser of choice. And we also have a shop with some themed merchandise for your perusal and purchase, right there on makinggeeks.com.
And this is the part of the show where I would tell you to go and check us out on our individual social media accounts. But if you are going to be at WorkbenchCon next week, even if you're not going to the event, if you're going to be in Atlanta next week, come and find us, because we would love to hang out with you. We would love to talk to you. We would love to discuss the Book of Boba Fett if you want to discuss the Book of Boba Fett in further detail. And we can do it in person because we will all be there. So come find us.
The Book of Boba Fett over a burger.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
We'd like to thank all of our listeners for hanging out in the live chat with us. It always makes the show a lot more enjoyable, seeing the the scrolling conversation that happens there on the side. And if you'd like to be a part of that group, you can listen in every Thursday evening, roughly about 9:30 Eastern Time and 6:30 Pacific, and somewhere in between for Central.
And Mountain.
And Mountain. Yes, I don't want to forget
We
Mountain.
love you guys.
Yes. You can find new episodes of the show on your favorite podcast player of choice every Friday, scratch that, Saturday morning on your favorite podcast player of choice. Next week, we will not have a episode up right away. We will eventually, but we'll be recording something at Workbench Con. I'm not really sure exactly when that episode will be released. We'll probably have some live content going too, so make sure to check out all of our feeds for all of that fun stuff. And so until that time, from all of us to all of you, have a fantastic week.
See ya.
See ya. Hopefully.
Click, 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 click.